Hey, everybody, it's Dr. Sills, and I know we're not in the same room, but I'm really glad that we're like communing together somehow, because we've all been so isolated. Yeah, unless you're one of those nut jobs who's like out at a bar, like, I'm gonna drink a bunch of Coronas because coronavirus, which, by the way, is fucking stupid. Don't go out in public with a bunch of people. There's a virus pandemic happening right outside your door. Not really. But you get what I'm saying, yeah? So we live in weird times, and unfortunately, that is affecting our class. And I think, although it's annoying, we are going to be able to press ahead regardless. And I'm excited for how this is going to go. I think it'll give us new opportunities to test things out that we couldn't have done otherwise. And I think it'll give us a chance to try out something new. I think it definitely will make us all remember our on-camera speaking lecture that we had earlier in the class from some of your stalwart colleagues. I personally am wishing I had paid more attention to it because so far in the course of recording lectures today, and this is my fifth one, by the way, I have had an eyelash in my eye for the entire time that I could do nothing about because I was on camera, and I realized roughly 10 minutes ago that I had shit in my teeth for the first 4 videos that I recorded. And I should note that this is my second try recording this video because I somehow stopped recording in the middle of my first try, and I don't know what happened to the rest of it. So here we go again from my perspective, but that's nothing to do with you. You are here to learn shit, and I am here to provide the shit for you to learn. Now, we are progressing. We are going to go ahead and keep marching ahead with this class. And I want you to know that going in, that this is really onward and upward. And in that spirit, I'm going to go ahead and go over the assignment for your third speech in the class, which is fun. It's a fun speech. It's a persuasive speech, which is designed for you to be able to crawl inside people's heads and feel how they feel feelings and make them feel things and think things so that you can get people to do exactly what you want them to do. It's called a Civic Persuasive Appeal. And what I'm going to do right now is give you a minute to go ahead and pull up the assignment sheet for it on D2L. I'll wait. Just go ahead. Just get on D2L. It's under Content and it's under Assignment. You thought I was kidding? I'm waiting. Go ahead, pull it up. Come on. Okay, now that you have it pulled up, let's talk about what a civic persuasive appeal speech entails, and then we'll figure out exactly the mechanics of how that's going to work. Now, I should preface going over the assignment sheet with a caveat, I guess, that we are going to have to change the spirit of this assignment just a little bit in the respect that originally this was going to be a super fun speech where I took you to the student center and plopped you in the middle of like a big public area and let you see who you could attract to come watch you in the middle of a place with a lot of people walking by. Unfortunately, that is now a public health hazard and will not be happening. So, depending on how things go, either you'll be giving the speech in the classroom, because even if we're back on campus, I think you've suffered enough. But if we're still online, which is also a possibility, then you're just going to be making a recording of yourself giving the speech and putting it in a Dropbox, just like some of you are doing with Speech 2. So either avenue will not involve you talking in public, but you're still speaking to an audience, and I want you to keep that in mind as we go over what the assignment is and what the assignment does. So let me start looking at the actual assignment sheet and making very clear what exactly all these things mean. Now, each word in the title of the assignment sheet is completely pivotal. For example, civic means that basically you're talking to people. Yeah, civic means that you have a particular audience in mind, and that audience, when it comes together, can do things. Persuasive means that you have to make the audience want to think or do a thing. And you have to make that very explicit and very clear, because if you're ham-fisted about what you want the audience to think or do, they've just got words rushing by them a mile a minute, yeah? So they're not going to pick up nuance. They are going to pick up on strong language that gives them an imperative to act. That's what you're going for here. And then finally, appeal. You, you have to make it appealing, yeah? You have to make it something people want to listen to. Other than the more, I don't know, the more knee-jerk response of just like wagging your finger at people and telling them what they should think or do, because people don't like that. People don't want to be a part of that. Appeal means that you have to get people together under a common cause that is appealing to all of them, and then you can get some real persuasion done. So that's what I mean by civic persuasive appeal. Now, the first thing you see on the assignment sheet itself is that this is another little tiny short speech. It is 3 to 4 minutes long, which is not long enough to do a whole big elaborate oration. It is long enough to do a problem solution speech, which is exactly what this is going to be. Now, once again, you are going to be delivering that from a keyword outline. If you are struggling with what that means, please contact me and I will walk you through in explicit detail exactly what I'm looking for. Some of you were struggling with that in speech too, and I don't want that to happen again. So use a keyword outline to make your speech. Also be aware that you will be turning in a references page because you are citing sources. This is really important. You are citing sources in this speech, and you're doing that because if you get up and you tell me what to think or do, and it just sounds like your opinion, I'm much less likely to do it than if you got up and said something like, hey, I think this, here's a whole crew of experts that agree with me, right? So that's why your research is going to be very important here. Now, being persuasive can be intimidating for some people, especially if you're the real, like, nice, sweet kind of personality. You never want to tell other people their business, right? You just want to live your life and you're going to let other people live theirs. But keep in mind, because it's civic in nature, it's designed for a broader public, you can change lives for the better here. You really can. You can persuade people to do something for the greater good of mankind. And that's an opportunity to take seriously. And do you have to be adamant when you're doing that? Yeah, sure. You don't have to be aggressive, but you do have to be clear and purposeful. That's what we're going for here. Now, you are going to be doing a problem solution appeal, like I said, and that means in a speech this short that the first thing you need to say is the problem. Here's what's going on, here's how we need to fix it, right? You need to be very blunt as you're going into this. It should be a problem that when people hear it, their attention is grabbed and they immediately want to listen to more of what you have to say, right? Excuse me, that was weird. Now, you have to make sure as well that you go into enough detail about the problem that people understand that it is a problem. Like, I could get up and I could say, Werther's Originals are ruining America. And people would probably stop because that's a fucking weird thing to say. But at the same time, they would want to hear more, right? So you have to describe, as the assignment sheet says, why this thing is a bad thing. Who is it hurting? And make sure that it's hurting the people that you are talking to, because otherwise they won't care, right? And then, after you've done that, we need a very specific, concrete solution to whatever the problem you outlined is. Do not leave people room to do their own guesswork because they'll come up with their own weird shit, and that's not what you want. You want to say, hey, Werther's Originals are ruining America. Blah, 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 blah. Here's why. Okay, what are we going to do about it? We're going to blow up the world. That's what we're going to do about it because that will solve the problem of the Werther's Originals. Yeah? Have a very specific solution. And then you have a recap at the end, as one does, where you reiterate your problem briefly. You reiterate your solution, and then you have some kind of ending statement that's like catchy and fun and makes people remember your topic and what you said. Now, usually when I give that kind of assignment to students, they'll come back with things like, oh, I should end with a quotation from somebody famous. And that's fine if you end up doing that, but honestly, I would prefer to hear a catchy quotation that you came up with yourself. Like, indulge yourself in some wordplay, be witty, be fun, and you'll surprise yourself with what you can come up with that really hits home for people. Now, honestly, the big key to this speech is the delivery, because you can write a really compelling problem solution thing, but if you sound bored when you're delivering it, or if you just generally sound lethargic or like you don't care, then why the hell should we care? Yeah? So your delivery is going to have to be really adamant. Like, I want to see gestures. I want to see adamant gestures, like fist shaking, fingers pointing. Yeah? I want to hear authoritative vocalics that tell me you care and you want the rest of us to care. I want you to look us dead in the eye while you're talking about these things. Whatever it is you end up talking about, show us your conviction. And that may seem weird, particularly if this ends up being a YouTube recording, but I promise you can do it, and it's fun. If you really pull it off with a lot of charisma, you will be so happy with yourself for doing this. But basically what I'm saying is, don't be tentative, don't be wishy-washy. Just give us a problem, give us a solution, and make sure we feel like that is absolutely what we have to do. And then you're good. Now, why am I asking you to give this speech? And in particular, why on earth was I going to take you to give it, like, in front of real people? Because that's scary. Well, because one of the biggest reasons that people learn speaking skills is so they can participate in a public. Yeah, it's not like you're going to be giving speeches in front of a classroom the rest of your life, unless you become a teacher. But it is like you are going to be at your job, and you're going to have to be like, hey, income's down, so we have to figure out what to do about it, and here's what I think we should do. And then you give that kind of, that's exactly this. Yeah, you're going to be doing this stuff the rest of your life, so take it seriously and learn how to do it now. So in the future, you can really roll with it. Make an impact on the world, yeah? Because why else are we here? Now, the theoretical background for this speech is ethics. Yeah? That's a fun word. Ethics. What does that even mean? Ethics. Like, think about it. Define ethics. No, I'm going to be silent for a minute, and I want you to give me a definition of ethics, just right now. Ooh, yes. Yes, that's very good. If you said that ethics is the branch of philosophy that's dedicated to studying morality, then you're right. Good job. I feel like I'm on Blue's Clues or something, or Dora the Explorer, and I'm just like creepily waiting for you to talk. But we can't actually talk, so it's the closest we can get. You need to be thinking here, as you're choosing your problem and identifying your solution, about issues of right and wrong, good and evil, or virtue and vice, even. Because ethics are what creates the imperative that you need persuasion, right? If I were to say, Werther's originals are ruining America because they're round, yeah, that's, who cares? But if I were to say Werther's originals are ruining America because they stand for issues that you are strongly opposed to, then you'd be like, okay, that's an ethical concern and I'm listening. And that's what you want. You want your problem to be rooted in some kind of ethical concern. Now, I come at that making it sound real simple, but ethics are hard. Yeah, ethics is one of the most complicated fields of study that you can ever get engaged in, because there's really no absolutes. And if you walk out of college having learned nothing else, you should have learned that there's no absolute right and wrong. There's never absolute virtue or vice. There's never absolute good or evil. You have to find gray areas in everything if you are going to get that off the ground. Now, we're going to spend a lot of time in this unit going over different theoretical lenses toward ethics. And I say that especially because you're going to have to choose one of those lenses to incorporate in your speech to show that you have a real ethical imperative in the problem you are talking about. And as we go through the process of discussing all these lenses, I want you to be open-minded. I want you to be willing to think hard, because at a lot of points we're going to be at a complete loss for correct answers. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you figured out by now, college is not about correct answers. College is about thinking. But really here, there's no correct answers. Just to show you how that works, and this is a discussion we normally would have in class that would take hours and piss everybody off, and we can't do that right now. But have you heard of the trolley problem? This is one of the biggest ethical conundrums, and it has a big following among philosophers and lay philosophers and just people who like thinking about shit. Because it's a problem that asks you what you would do, but also puts you in a weird position where you probably don't know. So here's the trolley problem, and look it up after this if you don't believe me or if you need it explained further. The trolley problem is that you are standing on a railroad track, and you are standing next to a lever that could divert the train onto a different track if you wanted to. Now the scenario is currently there's a runaway train on your track, and it's barreling toward 5 people who are tied to a track, can't leave, which is to say they're about to die. Now, you could pull the lever. If you pull the lever to divert the train to the other track, you will kill 1 person, because there's 1 person tied to this track. Now, how did the people get there? Who cares? Not part of the issue. You have to decide, would you rather not touch the lever and let the train barrel over 5 people, in which case it's an accident, or would you rather pull the lever and kill somebody, in which case that's murder? Yeah? And I'm sure a lot of you are sitting there like, oh, I know exactly what I'd do. Do you? Do you really? Think about this really hard, because in one, you are an agent of destruction, and in one, 5 people die. And there's lots of variations of the trolley problem. There's a lot of stuff that we could do to feel how invested you are. For example, what if the 5 strangers tied to the track, or 5 people tied to the track are total strangers, and the 1 person is your mom? Yeah? Who would you save? Or let's say that the 5 people tied to the track are totally innocent, and then the one that you would divert the train to murder somebody, that's Hitler. Like, the decision changes. But the really awkward part about the original trolley problem is you don't know. Yeah, you don't know who the people are, and you don't know who deserves to live or die. Or you might think everybody deserves to live. Or you might think everybody deserves to die. I don't know if you're a glass half full or a glass half empty kind of person. But think about it. And now, here's your little Easter egg for this lecture. Just because, I don't know, I'm lonely and I want to hear from you guys. For 2 points of extra credit, email me after you've watched this and tell me what you would do in the trolley problem. And it's probably good to look at a visual image of this, so just Google trolley problem and read about it a little. And then email me and tell me, would you pull the lever or would you not pull the lever? And then give me a sentence or 2 about why. I'm just curious if you can justify your decision. So that's what we're doing. We are, in this unit, talking about how to appeal persuasively to the people around you about something that serves their own self-interest. And we're doing it in the context of the ethics that drive these various situations, the ethics that make the world go around. And I hope you're as excited for that as I am, because this is my favorite unit, man. Ethics are sticky, but they're sticky in a really delicious way. So keep percolating about topics you might want to talk about, and keep watching these video lectures, because we're going to start narrowing down the ethical lens that you might use to couch your speech. Until then, I look forward to your emails, and I look forward to hearing from you in general. Y'all have a good day.